All right, so today we were supposed to have a show with Henry Foster, the captain of UNC hockey. Well, yesterday, a graduate student at UNC shot a faculty member, and he said he didn't want to talk about hockey today. He didn't want to talk about a lot of stuff today. And I totally understand. The year before I came to UNC, and I ended up living on Henderson Street my last 2 years at UNC, a law student shot and killed a student and a resident of Chapel Hill, and he ended up getting pleaded not guilty, reason of insanity. So they shut down the campus. And I know I have friends I went to grad school with. They had a kid who was sequestered in a classroom yesterday and wasn't let out. It's scary, I mean, and he's a young kid, Henry. Henry's in his 20s. He's a senior in college, and I understand he doesn't want to talk about hockey today. And I said, you know what, dude? Call me if you need to talk. It's a scary thing. There were local kids' first day of school, and this is what they had to deal with. There were cops everywhere. They had the kid in handcuffs. Just a different world. We would get upset, and that would be that, and that's what happened. And just a fucked up world. That's all I got to say on that front. So I got your back. Send my love to everybody at the university, all the people living in Chapel Hill, Carborough, the areas around the university. I talked to RK yesterday. He said he's 3 miles, happened near the bell tower. The family, a faculty member killed by a student, over a grade or something? It's that bad? Get that angry? The stress you're feeling that you have to kill somebody over that? Nah. That's when things are getting, we got to shut it down a little bit. A lot of shit going on in the world, a lot of shit going on in my life, a lot of shit going on in a lot of people's lives. And you got to take a step back and what's important. And you know what's important for me? Structure. And today always doing the podcast is important to me because I work on something around my training and stuff, and I get information. There's all this cut down today. And I was like, do I go crazy talking about it? No, you can't, because it's, you just can't. And I have to talk about the things that are interesting. Like Max Scherzer tribute video. The guy played 42 games with the Mets. 20-9 record, 42 games, and there was a tribute video, and they booed him. Of course they should. It's like the PC thing that, oh my God, he played a little bit for the team, so now let's have a tribute video. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Come on, guys. Seriously? A tribute video for Max Scherzer, who got paid $43 million a season and was complaining, and then threw the team under the bus, and afterwards said, things were good between him and Verlander, that they were fine. Well, if they were fine, why wouldn't you stay? So now you're at Texas. Congrats. They came back. They beat the Mets yesterday 4-3. After the Mets had a 3-2 lead, they blew it. But Tyler McGill had a season-high 8 strikeouts yesterday, left after 5 innings of strong pitching. But they don't have a bullpen. And Bubbles talks to me about, spend money instead of Alonso on a bullpen. Great. You know what? Great. But who's out there? And, you could bring young guys up and everything. And, yeah, I just can't get over a tribute video for Max Scherzer. I mean, they have so many holes, the Mets. And you're not going to replace a guy who can hit 40 home runs and knock in 120 RBIs every season. That's a guy you can't replace. Now, I know his average kind of sucks, and he's pretty good at first base, but power is power. And you need a guy in the lineup that can hit. Now, I know he's going to be 29, 30 by the time he gets that new deal. He's arbitration next season. That's over $20 million. And the Mets are going to, I guess everybody's open. And then Starling Marte got engaged, and his wife-to-be was straddling him in a picture he posted. I'm like, dude, that's the picture you post? And he's probably done for the rest of the season. That's the world today, man. People put up crazy pictures. That's what they do. I mean, everybody's showing everybody everything, and you're like, that's TMI. I don't need all that information. Great. You got engaged. You're over 30 years old. And 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds are acting like they're 12. And that's the world today, man. Social media. It was almost better growing up when we didn't have this stuff. You had to call somebody. Back in the 80s, you didn't have a phone to call somebody. Then we had pagers, and we thought that was something crazy. But if you wanted to see somebody, you called them. Or you went to see him. Or you hung out. You weren't inside all day playing video games and all that shit. You actually went out and you played all day. You played football all day, basketball. You just hung out with friends. You did whatever. You used to rent movies and watch them there. They had a section in the back for the pornos. And it was little, you had to go back there, made you feel bad. But, you did it anyway. because that's what you were experiencing. You know, I mean, yeah. I mean, that was the world. Changed a lot. And there are great things. Technology is great in a lot of ways, but everybody's got their head in the goddamn phone all day. You know, I could be an influencer or whatever. I could post 10, 12 things a day. But I have a thing called organic. It's got to be organic with me. It's got to be feeling like I'm, you know, not forcing the issue. Now, I do the podcast, and that's cool. And I post all stuff around the podcast, put that up. But the rest of the stuff, people posting all day on every little thing that happens, gives you a headache. Gives you a big headache. And you see Tatis has cleats yesterday to honor his dad, who back on April 23rd, 1999, in the third inning for the Cardinals at the Dodgers, at Dodger Stadium against Chan-Ho Park, hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. And he did you can see the Post-Dispatch masthead is on the cleats, which is kind of cool. And it says, "Ain't Tatis grand?" I mean, that's pretty cool. The world today, that kind of stuff is cool. And he actually went 2 for 4 yesterday. They beat the Cardinals and the shitty Padres. Jason, they're shitty. And he knows it. 62-70. Cardinals improved to 56-76. And that was the 15th game of the season that year. But 2 grand slams in the third inning in the same inning. And he honors his dad 24 years ago. Pretty crazy, right? Yeah, 2 for 5 in that game with 8 RBIs. That's the picture I have for today's show. The Giants are releasing Jamison Crowder because Wan'Dale Robinson's coming off the PUP, the physically unable to perform list. They also released Tommy DeVito, Illinois quarterback, former Rutgers quarterback, 453 yards, 2 touchdowns preseason. Thank you, Jordan Schultz. Could end up with a practice squad. There's a lot of guys that got released that led the preseason in catches, rushes, all that kind, touchdowns with Trey Sermon, the former Ohio State running back for the Eagles. I saw he could be released. It was Kicker Palooza today. Nick Falk was traded to the Titans because they're going to go with their 6th round pick from Maryland. He got traded to the Titans. Will Lutz is reunited with Sean Payton with the Broncos. Brett Maher is released by the Broncos, and they are going with that kid from Notre Dame who wasn't let into the locker room. What's his name? Glup? I have his name around here. Yeah, what's his name? I'm sorry. Grupp. Blake Grupp is now the kicker for the... There he is. He just said Kev. Okay, now I'm seeing stuff from Josh. Josh has joined the show. He says he puts all his stuff on YouTube, and I didn't see anything yesterday. But yes, Blake Grupp is now the Saints kicker. 53-man roster to be done by 4 p.m. today. We'll see how that works out. But yes, Jamison Crowder will get picked up by somebody else. Tommy DeVito, he looked pretty good when I watched him, but, maybe he'll end up on a practice squad somewhere. Dalvin Cook, very realistic. He said the Jets win the Super Bowl. Can we play some games first? The one good thing is Von Miller is not playing. And Von Miller, I saw somebody posted about the Bills with and without Von Miller. Very interesting how this is. I want to make sure I get the name right. But Von Miller, with and without on the Bills when he didn't play last year. Let me see. Yes, weeks 1 through 11 with Miller on the Bills. 7.4% sack rate, 13% the pass rush. They had a 31.6 pressure rate, which was 4th in the NFL. 12 through 18 without him, 5.2 sack rate. They went from 13th to 24th. And pressure rate, they went from 4th to 26th. And he's out the first 4 games. He's going to be on the PUP list. So he's not going to play. That bodes well for the Jets opening against, also for Aaron Rodgers. Protect him with the, protect him opening game, which I'm like, good for that. So that's another positive on that front. And Denver is linked to Jonathan Taylor, but I just saw that the Dolphins, Cedric Wilson, the running back, a wide receiver, he did a salary reallocation, whatever you wanted to. Salary was redone. I saw $3 million. They're saying $5 million. That sounds like it's money opening up to get Jonathan Taylor. RG3 thinks it's a mistake for the Colts to get rid of him. I do too. Anthony Richardson needs a security blanket, and you have one in Jonathan Taylor. So why trade him? Why? Now, my buddy James yesterday brought up a really interesting point, because I was saying Carmelo as a as a Hall of Famer. And if we go by all basketball, he said yes. NBA, maybe not. But he brought up a good point that what was he drafted? 2003? That if he had been, wait, let me see. I got it right here. Don't I have? Okay, so I love this. So he's a 2003 draft. LeBron went 1. Second was Darko Milicic, who went second to the Pistons, who ended up playing 10 years, 6 points, 4 rebounds, and assists, 6 teams. He ended up played 8 games with the Knicks at the end of his career, 1 with Boston, and Carmelo went third. He goes, what if Carmelo went to Detroit and played with Rip Hamilton and played with Chauncey Billups and had Larry Brown as a head coach instead of going to Denver? And I was like, holy shit, that's a good point. And the Pistons won the championship in 2004. He would have had a chip. Career would have been totally different. Imagine he went second instead of Milicic. Why, Milicic was a guy who they thought was going to be this great player. And you know what sometimes ends up who you're with. And we were talking about Rashad McCants, who in college had to dumb down his game, and he won a chip at UNC, then went to talked about against the coaches at Minnesota and pretty much petered out. But I loved what James said about, Carmelo. He goes, well, what if he had ended up I said, dude, that's a gem. He started laughing. I said, I got to talk about that on the show. And that's what I was like, dude, that is fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, and Bronny doing extremely well. Hope they'll play this season. I hope he does too. But I love that from James. I thought that was fantastic. Denver, I just imagine, it's who you end up with. You end up with this team. If you end up with someone, better coaching, better teammates around you, futures, anything's possible. Instead, you have a nomadic career. Well, Milicic was definitely overrated. I don't think he was that good a player. Yeah, so many what ifs. Can't drive the brain mad as a yes. You cannot, Josh. You cannot drive the brain mad on that sense. But still, it is what it is. It's very interesting to say that. Well, listen. So you wouldn't have had Carmelo, but I'm saying you would have never had. And Carmelo didn't have the players around him with the Knicks. They had a 1 year where they won 54 games with the second. That was it. They never had great players around him. They had who was that center? The big kid who out of high school, who had a couple good years. I think he grew up in Chicago. I'm blanking on his name. You had him on the team, and then he got that big contract, went to the Bulls, and he just disappeared. But the Knicks, they haven't had a good team in a long time. Like a team that you're like, wow, we're playing for championships. And it's still, Patrick, I remember, yeah, just what ifs in general. Yes, just what ifs in general. But hey, it is what it is. Yeah, Chargers waived 7th round pick out of TCU, Max Duggan. I wasn't shocked about that. Ron Rivera says about Sam Howell, another if. If I would have known this, I would have played him sooner. Well, it didn't. No, not Joakim Noah. Who was the other guy? There was another kid who was it Eddie? The Knicks center. The kid he didn't play college ball. He was at a high school, big guy. Yeah, it wasn't Joakim Noah, who once I saw in Vegas. But I think his name was, I can't remember his name. I see him, I see his face. He had a couple good years, got a huge contract, and then kind of petered out in a couple years. I'll have to look it up later. Jimmy G, pulling for Trey Lance. Dude's got talent. Just got to see him get there, which, hey, that's a good thing. Yeah, Broncos have the most players arrested since 2000, 47. Eagles and Lions, least with 15. Cowboys, 24. Jets 25, Giants 19. 47 Broncos arrested since 2000. That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, Saints releasing, remember Jalen Smith? Could have, blows out his knee, becomes a second round pick of the Cowboys, loses a shitload of money, plays a couple years, okay, goes to the Giants. He's been all over the place. Well, he just got cut by the Saints. Per Ian Rappaport, likely to have interest, could end up on the Saints practice squad. But you think about all these guys who, and what was it? Jake Butt, the tight end for Michigan. I talked about him in a previous podcast where he blew out his knee in the Orange Bowl, a game that didn't mean anything. And that's why McCaffrey sat out a bowl game. He's like, well, I'm not screwing up my future potential earnings. And, Jalen Smith was one of those guys that even came back and played as something. But you look at him, he's been all over the place. So Will Lutz traded. They sent a 7th round pick. Broncos sent a 7th round pick for Will Lutz. I talked about him. 53-man roster, 4 p.m. today. We'll see how that goes. Jimmy G also said there have been a lot of weird situations over there in San Francisco. I'll leave it at that. Hey, you know what? You kind of fell into shit right there. Kyle Shanahan gives up 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance. He's the guy, breaks his leg. Brock Purdy comes on, and now he's playing well in the preseason, and you let him go. And Jerry Jones, what did I see today? Louis Riddick said Jerry Jones trades for Trey Lance, doesn't talk to his Dak Prescott about it, doesn't talk to McCarthy about it, because he's putting them all on notice that if they don't put up this year, that's a lot of pressure on Trey Lance, because Trey Lance really hasn't had a chance to develop yet, and I guess he's going to sit like a redshirt year, hopefully. And I mean, Dak Prescott, basically, he has a cap hit of $59.5 million next year. We're going to see how that works out, but yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine to see what happens. And then Devon Allen said he's the fastest guy in the NFL. Well, he can't stick. And he didn't return any punts or kickoffs in the preseason. They released him. Another guy. Remember Ronaldo Nehemiah? He was the hurdles guy, came to NFL. It didn't translate. It didn't translate at all. But the Cowboys in the 60s had... What the hell was he? Who was the... Oh, man. Cowboys in the 60s... Cowboys gold medalists, Cowboys gold medalist. Yeah, Cowboy gold medalist. Bob Hayes. Bob Hayes was a guy who he had a pretty goddamn good, gold medalist stats, NFL. Yeah, he had a pretty good NFL career. I mean, that's the guy, but Nehemiah did not pan out. No, he did not. He did not. So Bob Hayes, I'm looking at his stats. So he played how many years? He played 132 games, 371 receptions, 7,414 yards, and 71 touchdowns. And he played in the NFL for... Why is this taking so long to do? All right, he played 10 years in the league. He had 2,000-yard seasons. But he had seasons where he averaged over 20. He averaged, in 1970, he had 34 catches for 889 yards and 10 touchdowns. That's 26 yards of reception. The next year, he had 35 for 840, 24 yards of reception. Even at the end of his career, at 75, he played for San Francisco. He had 6 catches for $119. I mean, he averaged 20 yards a catch. I mean, he had double digits touchdowns in 5 of his 10 years. He's a hell of a player. That's the thing. So it hasn't translated with Devon Allen. Even close. So you pray for the best, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see how that goes going forward, if he's going to get picked up by someone else. We talked about Kicker-Palooza. Chad Ryland, the 6th-round pick by the Pats out of Maryland, 112th pick. He is now the Pats kicker. 9 days till NFL cookout. Cookout, because people are going to be cooking, and kickoff. And Michigan State punter Bryce Barringer is that's the punter for so the Pats have Bryce Barringer, and now is Barringer, Bryce Barringer, is he a rookie? I think he is a rookie. Let me see, Bryce Barringer. I thought he was a rookie this year. Yeah, I was watching a show called Killing It with Craig Robinson. It's okay. It's season 2, and you're like, but it's good to do when you're doing shit. Yeah, he was 6th-round pick this year, 192. So 2 guys picked. You had Chad Ryland picked in the 4th round, and Barringer in the 6th, and they're both going to start for the Pats this season for Belichick. That's pretty impressive. 2 rookies in your special teams, which are important parts of the team. Jake Fromm, cut by Washington, said he had a good preseason, but he's been all over the place. With the Giants, played a game, he sucked. Now I like this from Tony Girdman, and this is for college and NFL players. He said, recommend letting quarterback throw at least 1 incompletion this season before completely going against them, which is true. You got to give these guys time. They even said Tua is trying to avoid a concussion, which he should. He shouldn't be running the ball, or if he should, he'd be sliding like crazy. Avoid concussions as much as possible. You have to do that. Atlanta is working out Malcolm Butler, who has been on the downslide for a couple of years now. And the Browns cut wide receiver Austin Watkins led league in preseason receiving yards, which really doesn't mean shit. I mean, it shows that you're playing the preseason, but it really doesn't mean you're doing much in the preseason. But hey, shit happens, right? But he'll probably get picked up, practice squad somewhere, and, He showed that he can play in the league. 9.3% of the bets, most on Bengals, plus 1,100 to win Super Bowl. Bet MGM. Thank you, John Ewing. Could be. I'm supposed to be having my fantasy football draft tonight. They're telling me not to take a running back in the first round, so I guess I take a wide receiver. I'm debating. I got a guy in mind who I'm going to take, and from there I'll just keep going around. And Bengals 6th-round pick. What's it? Robbins. What? I wrote it down. Robbins. I want to get his name right because I don't want to screw that up. Brad Robbins from Michigan is the Bengals. So a lot of young guys are getting a shot, and he's on a really good team. So Brad Robbins, you have him and Moody, both made their NFL teams, even though Moody wasn't great this preseason for the Niners, and he's hurt right now. Edwin Diaz, first outdoor bullpen session since knee surgery, remains hopeful to return. Buck says if he let him pitch if he's healthy. Okay, so let Diaz pitch in a season that means nothing. McGill, as I said, 6 innings, 5 hits, a run, base on ball, 8 Ks. Trevor Gott took the loss, gave up 2 runs in the 9th. There's 60 and 72. Rangers improved to 74 and 57. And Max Scherzer sucks. Most consecutive series of 2+ games without being swept. The Orioles are 82, and Adley Rutschman has been involved with 81 of them. Active streak extended with the Chicago White Sox series. Blake Snell, 7 scoreless innings yesterday for the Padres in their 4-1 win. He has an MLB best 2.60 ERA. Last Padre that low, 162 games, was Jake Peavy in 2007. And he's the last Padre. 2007 was the last Padre to win a Cy Young Award. Peavy that year went 19-6 with a 2.54 ERA. The team went 89 and 74 with Bud Black as manager. And they sucked this year. So, but he's having a good season. Blake Snell, former Tampa Bay star, and gunshots were fired inside White Sox inside the stadium on Friday. Inside the stadium, and they have metal detectors. Who the fuck is bringing a gun into a baseball stadium, and who's getting upset in a baseball stadium that need to shoot somebody? It's a baseball game. You really getting that upset? It's so fucked up. Tony Gosselin out the rest of the year, and next year with Tommy John surgery. Altuve, first cycle ever. He's never had a 5-hit game. First cycle by an Astro since 2013. They beat the Red Sox. Hit his 10th home run, 4 for 6, 4 RBIs. They're Boston 69-63. They're 5.5 games back of Houston in the wild card, who's 75 and 58. He's never had a 5-hit game, and his first cycle ever. Yeah, and first since 2013 for the Astros. Yeah, and how about this? Cedane Rafaela, first big league pitch. He gets his first major league hit. That's the way it has to happen. Thanks, Ben Verlander, for that. Your first time up, you see your first pitch, hit it, boom, right there, all done. And Royce Lewis, 10th player with 3 grand slams within his first 10 career homers. He has 8. He's the first player in Twins history to hit grand slams in back-to-back games, and he's the first rookie ever. First rookie to have grand slams in back-to-back games. Isn't that crazy? First Twin ever to have grand slams in back-to-back games and went 10-6. There's 69 and 63. Cleveland 62 and 70. 8 home runs, 28 RBIs, 317 batting average for Royce Lewis this year. Brewers 9 straight wins. They went 6-2 over the Cubs. And the Braves 14-4 over the Rockies. Did you see fans jumped onto the field? Jason sent me. And they were hugging him. And they weren't letting go of Acuna. And the security people were trying to pull him away. And Acuna fell back. And you're like, how the fuck these people? And they're hugging Acuna. Why they felt the need to hug Acuna is beyond me. But what's with security? Like, what are you doing there? Why are you letting guys? 2 guys got in the field. I mean, why do people feel they need to get in the field? Are they drunk? Are they drinking that much? And I saw something that Biden's trying to limit the amount of beers people can drink. They said I don't know who spread this rumor, that he wants people to be limited to 2 beers a week. Yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah. And Monkey's going to come flying out my ass. One of the U.S. Open tennis players yesterday was complaining about the smell of weed while she was playing. Have you walked around the city? It's out of control. And I know people say it's a novelty right now, but it is out of control. You walk everywhere and there is a weed smell everywhere. It's disgusting. And did you see Coco went almost 3 hours yesterday in a 3-set? And the woman she's playing against, she was complaining was slowing down the match. Well, that Coco goes at a quick speed. She was getting pissed off. Brad Gilbert's her coach. He looked pissed off. She was up 5-1 in the third. Then it was 5-4. She held on 6-4. Lost the first set, won the last two. And, watch Djokovic 6-0. We won in 3 sets. He's amazing to watch. But Coco, man, first match, man, you don't want to be playing almost 3 hours. I don't care how young you are. That was not pretty, but she was playing someone at a different tempo. And hopefully Coco can go on a run here. Sloane Stephens lost her first round. Sloane Stephens won, 2017, won the U.S. Open? Back then she was as high as, 3 in the world? And now she's in the 30s? I don't know what happened with her. She was fantastic. I used to love watching her play, but the young people, they don't, there's Serena and everybody else. And I don't know about Coco. I love the outfit she had on, but man, not that good. Djokovic's, I liked his. He had all blue on. He looked pretty cool yesterday. So Acuna now has 29 home runs, 60 stolen bases. He could join Ricky Henderson at the 30-60 club, which people say, is that bigger than a 40-40? Now also you have the bigger bases, you have the pitch clock, which is letting, pitchers have to pitch faster. So it opened up the lane, so it's a little different. So that makes Ricky Henderson, when he have a $124 in the season, that much more, amazing what he did in a game where they didn't have any pitch clock or anything. How good. How many stolen bases would Ricky Henderson have now? He'd have 4 a game. Ricky Henderson would probably have 200 stolen bases a season. God, if Ricky Henderson played now, that would be pretty amazing. It would be out of control. So Braves won 14-4. They're 3.5 games up on the Orioles for best record in baseball, 85-45. Acuna went 4 for 5 with a home run and 5 RBIs. He's amazing. Seattle 7-0 over the A's. Julio Rodriguez 4 for 5, 3 runs, a home run, 3 RBIs, 12-1 the last 13. Seattle. They're 75-56. A game up on the Astros and Rangers for first place. A's are 38-94. But listen to this. Julio Rodriguez, 24 home runs, 87 RBIs, 286 batting average, 3 straight games with a home run, 5th 4-hit games in the last 10 games. 5th 4-hit game in the last 10 games. 5th. He is on fire. That is on fire, folks. Yeah. Roger Lewis is the first to win at Grand Slams in back-to-back games and the first rookie in MLB history to Grand Slams in back-to-back games. That's what I knew that was a stat. Yes, Coco Gauff. I watched some of that. She's 12. She's won 12 of the last 13 matches. Sigmund actually got called 4-1. She got called for going for a towel, and then she got pissed off. But Coco Gauff got upset because I think they called her for something, and she got upset at the ref. And Sigmund after the match did not shake the umpire's hand. And John Reese Plumley at UCF donated 100% of proceeds from jersey sales to Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children. That's sweet. But it is moronic. At the U.S. Open, they're putting the tennis ball on people's head at the scoreboard, so you have a facsimile of a tennis ball when people are waving on the Jumbotron. It's stupid. And Eric Gilbert, so Florida Sportsman sent me this, but I saw this before too. How about Eric Gilbert, former 5-star recruit, plays a year at LSU, has a good season, decides I'm transferring to Georgia, doesn't do much last season, transfers to Nebraska, and got arrested on burglary charges, vape cartridges, some other shit. He's waiting to get eligible. Third school, what the fuck you doing, kid? All the town in the world. They were talking about him, 5-star recruit, and then he gets charged with burglary. And I was like, dude, you're a douchebag. I'm sorry. You know what? Somebody's got to get, you're on your third school since high school. You keep transferring. You were Georgia, which you can't make work at Georgia. You go there, you're on a national champ. I know you have Brock Bowers, but Gilbert was a hell of a talent. And now, who knows, he's probably done. I don't know what's going to happen. He's going to go play somewhere. Probably get a shot in the NFL in a couple of years. We'll see if he can turn it around. Hey, Waller turned it around. Waller was having major drug problems when he was on with the Ravens, and he turned it all around, and now he's an all-pro, and he's on the Giants now. So maybe, but he needs someone to shake him up. Little slap in the face or something to fix that. Liberty won yesterday, so they 3-2 this season. They won the season series, but they really didn't because Commissioner's Cup did not count. But they won yesterday, so now the Aces cannot have the best winning percentage ever. But they're only a game and a half behind for home court advantage. But it doesn't look. I don't think they'll catch them. But 2-2 regular season. And we'll see what happens. But they got a big one yesterday. Over 11,000 fans at Barclays. And, nice win yesterday for the Liberty. Nice win. And, at one point I thought that Aces might go undefeated this season. And smart for Gervonta Davis, joking about moving up the fight at 147 Bud Crawford. No. Thank you, DTLR Radio. No. Gervonta Davis is like, you know what, there's some guys I want to fight, and that's not a guy I should be fighting right now. Bud Crawford knows what he's doing, and I think I should stay away from him. And Megan Rapinoe, last game with the U.S. Women's National Team, September 24th, Soldier Field. She'll be honored before the match. She's not going to play in the match before, but that'll be her last match with the U.S. Women's National Team. And, hey, she's had a hell of a career. Just a shitty way to end their, shitty. That was a shitty postseason, man. That was a shitty World Cup. I mean, expectations through the roof, and they did not answer the bell at all. And this was good from the gist of its podcast. If 81 of the Spanish men's team players decided to boycott playing for the country alongside the 81 women, imagine the impact that would have. Think of how much faster problems in the women's soccer world could be solved if there was continual support from the men's teams and the men's players. When both sides work together, it's powerful. Yeah, that guy won't resign. The president kissing the woman on the mouth. She didn't ask for that. And just because of women, that's acceptable? And they just won the World Cup? So, you're talking about the best team in the world. They won the biggest tournament in the world. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's on the same wavelength. And I think that's ridiculous. That's bullshit. That is big time bullshit. Yeah, I talked about the weed thing. Yeah, that's not going away. Come on. How about this? The Tri-County Valley Cats, the New York Boulders, had a game this past Sunday. An umpire was ejected. The ump got tossed. He got into a heated confrontation with one of the players in the field. He turned around to walk away, but the player followed and kept yelling. The umpire turned around and struck the player in the torso, nearly leading to a brawl between the two parties. The umps intervened, and the camera caught the offending ump walking to the center field exit. Valley Cats manager Pete Incaviglia, yes, remember Pete Incaviglia? He played for the Rangers all those years. Thought the Boulders were stealing signs using a camera in center field. He made his concerns known to the umpire, who went over to the Boulders dugout to talk to them about it, leading to the altercation with the player and eventually an ejection. Boulders ended up winning the game 2-1. Boulders president Sean Riley put Incaviglia on blast while speaking to the Times Union. He goes, "Your manager in Tri-City has been accusing us of stealing signs for 3 days, which is offensive and embarrassing at the same time." The umpire went over based on Pete, and he threw Nathan's out, and things got out of control. It's unfortunate. It was not good at all. Yeah. Crazy. He also questioned Incaviglia's line of logic in making the accusation at all. He said he couldn't understand how the Boulders could use the center field camera to steal signs and relay them to a hitter. He goes, "It's a 30-second delay on the camera, and there's a 15-second pitch clock." How does that do the math? That can't really work out. But yeah, so the ump got pissed off, and I remember watching him walk out, and I didn't know the whole story, so I was like, I got to talk about this. And I love this from Zaire Franklin on the Colts. "There's so much power in not giving up, even when nobody else believes. Keep going." Yeah, you just got to keep going. I always look at how many people download my. Hasn't been a lot the last couple of days. You know what I do? I just keep on trucking. That's all I can do. All I can do is keep on trucking. If I don't, then what are you going to do? Yeah, that's what I got to do. So, Liberty won 94-85. Ionescu at 25 points. Stewart at 20. Over 11,000. 28-7 Liberty, 30-6 the Aces. Asia had 23-8. Wilson 23-8. Vandersloot 17 points, 10 assists. Laney had 17. Jonquil Jones had 10 rebounds. The most lopsided WNBA head-to-head series that was split 2-2 combined this year, plus 77 for the winning team in each game. Plus 77 for the winning margin for the two teams. The most was 97, the Rockers and Sting 102. But that's how much these games were lopsided. There was a lot of blowouts in these games. Now, if it's a tiebreaker, the next tiebreaker is best record games against teams to end the season 500 or better. Right now, that's Vegas, New York, Connecticut, and Dallas. New York has a narrow edge right now, 6-3 to 7-4, but this is all fluid within 2 weeks remaining, so I think they'll catch them. And thank you, Alex Philippou on this one. Tuesday, Dallas Wings idle clinch a playoff spot with a Sky at Sparks loss. The Fever are eliminated with wins by the Dream, home against the Mercury, Mystics home versus Minnesota, and Los Angeles. So we'll see how that turns out. And Rich Samini thinks that Tim Boyle, Zach Kuntz, Malik Taylor, the wide receiver, Zach Kuntz is the tight end of Old Dominion, and Tanzel Smart, who they talked about on Hard Knocks, who I thought played pretty well, are going to be released. And Jason Brownlee, at a Southern Miss, the undrafted free agent, he's going to make the team. Yes, and Zonovan Bam Knight is going to be released. So you got Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, and Izzy Abinaconda, who had an injury to his knee that turned out to be not that serious. And also releasing Alec Erickson, 2 DD passes against the Giants. But Brownlee has made the team, undrafted free agent, Southern Miss. In April, he told his mom, "Don't hold your head down. I got it." I told her, "I'm going to go prove everybody wrong." He did. And this was interesting. This is from Play Like a Jet. I follow them on Twitter. He's talks about does a podcast, all that stuff. He says, "I love how non-Jet fans from other fan bases are treating Sauce the same way. Same fans who hate LeBron, overrated, claim refs give him all the breaks, say it's all part of a conspiracy by the league because they supposedly want him and his team propped up." Yeah, I don't know about that. But, you know, hey, Hyatt took him a little bit, but it's good. You know what? He can't be, even the best players get knocked down a little bit. But Sauce knows he wants to be one of the best ever. He's going to put the work in. He's not happy how things probably went against the Giants. Definitely isn't. And he's going to bring it this season. Monday night, he's going to be ready to play. He's not afraid of the big lights. You know, Dion, the great ones, Revis, big lights, they come to play and they get it done. And Jets likely feel combo production they can get from Bryce Huff, and comp pick they can get next year when he leaves as an undrafted free agent. So they haven't released him to offers because they feel they've turned them away. You know, Bears were interested in him. But, you know, you think about that. Okay, we keep him. He leaves for another team. We get a comp pick out of it. And they're not really offering anything that's anything good for him right now. So let's keep him, see what he does, have a good year, and he could be gone. So we'll see how that goes. And the Giants brought in Boogie Basham, stand out at Wake Forest, second-round pick in 2020. He was a hell of a player at Wake Forest. They'll swap late-round picks in 2025. Joe Shea knows him from his time 2021 with him in Buffalo. He's 25, was going to be cut, and it's unlikely he would have been available to the Giants for a waiver claim. So they add a player with potential who has not blossomed in 2 years. 8 games as a rookie, 2.5 sacks. 15 games last year, 2 sacks, interception, fumble recovery. 37 total tackles, 23 career games. Played 39% of the snaps last season. Also has 2 sacks in 4 career playoff games. 6'3", 281. That's a big guy. You always want guys that can put pressure on the quarterback. We'll see what Wake Martindale can do with him. You got Isaiah Simmons coming this season. I guess we're going to see what happens. Yeah. And Luke Johnson, this is interesting because, you know, they have all the waiver claims and all that stuff. Just remember there's a difference between being waived and released. Those who are waived are eligible to be claimed by the other 31 teams, and I think it goes by record. That's what it goes by. And those who are released immediately become free agents and have a choice in their next destination. So if you're waived or released, it goes by records, and that's why the Giants wouldn't. Someone would have claimed if they hadn't traded for Basham, they wouldn't have got him because of the record. They were a playoff team last season, but that's interesting. I thought that was. Tyson Bagent, 0-star quarterback recruit out of high school, 0 offers, ends up playing at Shepherd University in D2, went to both the Senior Bowl, NFL Combine, went undrafted, and he is the backup quarterback, beats out P.J. Walker. So Bagent is a backup quarterback this season with the Bears for Justin Fields. That's impressive. And Braden Edwin Daniels, an offensive tackle, 4th-round pick out of Utah. He got a torn rotator cuff in their preseason finale. Cards Commanders week 1. He is going to be done for, I guess he's done for I don't know if he come back from that. It sounds like maybe he'll come back at the end of the season, but that's rough. And Chris Rodriguez, the rookie out of Kentucky, owns a roster spot with Washington, backing up Brian Robinson Jr., Antonio Gibson. He's 6 foot 217. He had a hell of a career at Kentucky last 2 years. And Robinson only averaged 3.9 yards per carry. Gibson 3.7. He could get some playing time. We're going to see what happens. Jonathan Gannon said he will not name a starting quarterback publicly because I think it's a competitive advantage to us. And also because you guys suck. And I think you're playing for Caleb Williams next year. That's what you're really playing for. Kyler Murray's out at least the first 4 weeks. So he can't be back towards ACL in December. Could be back even longer. Colt McCoy was let go. They'll go with either Clayton Tune out of Houston, the 5th-round pick, or Joshua Dobbs. Dobbs lost both of his starts with the Titans last year. Yeah, they want to get the number 1 pick next season. Yeah, that's the reason. But Colt McCoy, I mean, really? I mean, he had experience, but I guess he's not mobile enough. Yeah, played 12 games last 2 seasons. I mean, Gannon. Listen, you were Jalen Hurts. I mean, different quarterbacks, right? I would say that's a big difference. He's going to be 37, and Dobbs. To me, I would go with Clayton Tune because I think Dobbs, has had chances, and if Tune plays 139th overall, he'd be the first quarterback drafted in the fourth round or later to start a season opener since Dak Prescott went 135th in 2016. He'd be the latest drafted quarterback to start a season opener as a rookie since Randy Hedberg. He was number 196 in 19. That's what I wanted up. I didn't look him up. Randy Hedberg. You see, you look up these guys. Randy Hedberg. And now he's a coach. Wow. He is an associate quarterback at North Dakota University. Played quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 77. He was a head football coach at Minot State University, his alma mater, from 82 to 89, and St. Cloud University 99 to 2007. So he played NFL football. Okay, so he played on the Buccaneers 2 years, Oakland, and so he was on the practice squad. All right, so that's what I wanted to see. What did he do? 8th round in the 77 draft. He saw significant playing time his rookie year. 7 games, started in 4. Injured reserve traded to Oakland in 79. Briefly with the Raiders in Green Bay, but did not play any regular season games. That's what I wanted to see, what his career stats were. That's what I was trying to find. Yeah, I wanted to see. Okay, so yeah, let's look what he did. So 77, he played. That's the only season he played. He went 0-4. He played in 7 games, 4 starts, 25 of 90, 244 yards, no touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Whew. 10 interceptions. Jesus Christ. That's a season, huh? Hey, playing NFL. Take that. That's pretty impressive, right? We'll see what happens with them going forward, yeah. Oof. Vikings are making an effort to get All-Pro wide receiver Justin Jefferson signed before week 1. I haven't heard anything about that happening. A life-altering second contract, a dream of mine, he said, since he was 7 years old. Highest paid wide receiver, which should happen. And Browns trading for Chargers kicker Dustin Hopkins, heading to Cleveland. Cade York, who's not been good with Cleveland, he's done. Trace McSorley was cut by the Pats. Malik Cunningham, the rookie out of Louisville, moves up the depth chart. And Eagles have signed former Colts cornerback Isaiah Rodgers, who's suspended all this year for violating the gambling policy, but loading up for the future. And they saying that the Lions may be looking for another kicker. They let Matt Prater walk in 2021. They've had Randy Bullock, Zane Gonzalez, Matthew Wright, Austin Siebert, Ryan Santoso, Riley Patterson, Aldrich Rosas, Dominic Eberle, Michael Badgley, Sam Ficken, and Parker Romo. They traded for another go with Patterson this whole season. He seems to have beaten out Romo, but he did come up short on a 53-yard field goal, missed a point after, never had a strong leg. He's not reliable, 50 yards. So that's a guy, I think they could be looking for a new kicker. We'll see how that goes. And also, this was interesting. Okay, so some notes have to be done by 53 by 4 p.m. Eastern. Players let go with fewer than 4 seasons of service will hit waivers. Waiver claims will be processed by noon on Wednesday. Players let go with more than 4 seasons of service become free agents immediately and can sign elsewhere. Players moved to reserve, the physically unable to perform will miss a minimum of 4 games. Any player moved to IR today at 4 p.m. is not eligible to return and out for a season. 16-man practice squad takes shape at 1 p.m. All free agents are eligible to join one. Thank you, Field Yates. And how about this? Wanya Thompson on the Cowboys, safety, lost his childhood home to a fire his father set. His mom and siblings slept in a car at an interstate rest stop. 53-man roster is a step towards long-awaited stability. I have a chance to break a generational curse. Like, we talk about shit, hey, I didn't have my father burn down my house, sleeping at a rest stop, sleeping in a car. That's hitting bottom. Yeah, that's big. And the Texans waived linebacker Christian Kirksey, 17 start last year, 82 tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 sacks, a fumble recovery, 31 years old. He's going to sign somewhere. But DeMeco Ryan is building a team there. He's going to get the guys he wants, and that's going to be interesting going forward. That's interesting to me. Yeah, Will Lutz, we'll see how that works out with him to Denver. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Trey Lance. Yeah. You got Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, 4-1 as a fill-in starter last year. I don't know, man. I really don't know where he's going with this. I guess we're going to see going forward. Yeah, I mean, time will tell. We shall see. I mean, he doesn't have a real resume of games played. He's a raw talent. I guess, you don't get a lot of practice time with, especially a guy like him. I mean, he's going to get mental reps, but I feel like I'd like him to go to a team where he's going to get a shot. I mean, Cooper Rush was a pretty good backup, but then they played the Eagles. He got his ass kicked, but he thought he played pretty well in certain games. And I feel like there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. It would have been, Trey Lance, I guess, Cardinals don't want to win this year, but I would have liked to seen what Trey Lance could have done with Arizona this year. I mean, Titans have drafted all these got Malik Willis, they got Will Levis, they got Tannehill, but I'm trying to think of teams that could use a real a backup to see, New England, Raiders, a lot of teams can use a quarterback, man. I'm curious what's going to happen going forward. I'd like to see him get a real shot to play some games, but time will tell on that front. So ACC was supposed to decide yesterday, but with the shootings, they postponed it. And this was interesting. So with the potential, they can cut back from, what did I see? That they need 15, if they don't have 15 teams in the league, so I wanted to see. If the league drops below 15 members, sources told Action Network headquarters, the ESPN's media right deal with ACC allows ESPN to renegotiate if league drops below 15. That's why, because there's a potential of Florida State, Clemson, possibly others leaving. ACC considering Power 5 schools now as opposed to Group of 5 later to maintain required membership. But that's another thing. So I mean, but to get out of the contract with the ACC is a shitload of money. So I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But we'll see what happens. And it sounds like it might only be one school. It might be Stanford and not Cal. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. And Saban hasn't announced who his starting quarterback is. They play Middle Tennessee State Saturday. Sark called out Brett Yormark, when he told Joe McGuire to take care of business for the Longhorns. Well, they host Rice on Saturday. Does he really give a shit? You know what, dude? Just talk semantics. I mean, come on. Really, dude? I mean, honestly, who cares? Yeah. Wow. So, I went to school with a kid, Adam Mucci. I went to Scotland with him, and his son was playing college football, and I saw a picture of him, and I was like, shouldn't it be football season? And he said no. He started his own training business and transferred to Rutgers. And I thought he loved football. I think he just got tired of playing. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. And he moved closer to home. He's going to focus on his training business. He got what he could out of football, and best of luck. Yeah. I'm going to see if would he come on the podcast. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Because, I'm kind of curious what happened. I mean, he played his freshman year, played D1. Was it D? Yeah, D1, right? D2? I think it was D2. I forget where he played up in, I watched a bunch of his games. He got in, had a couple tackles. I'd like to talk to him about that. Listen, I hope he's happy. He went his own way, and good luck in the future. Yeah, Gilbert. What was he caught with? Cigars, lighters, vape products, $1,600, and damage to the business. Found a glass door shattered with large cement chunks from the parking lot. What the fuck was he doing? 2 a.m. SJ's Liquor and Vape Store. Dude, what the fuck are you doing? Nebraska tight end, suspicion after police were officers. Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's done it. Jimbo Fisher is now going to be a CEO mentality instead of being the play calling head coach. Yeah, that's going to work out. Yeah, he's done. Now, the college football playoff, they talked about the 6+6 model, which has been lauded for nearly guaranteeing annual access for all 5 Power 5 champions, at least one Group of 5 champion. But now with the Pac-12 out of the picture, Should there be 5 spots for the highly ranked conference champions and 7 for at-large bids, or it should be more drastic? And how will the revenue be divided? And I think if there's a good Power 5 school, they should get in. And Kyle McCord is going to start, but Devin Brown could get into the game against the Hoosiers at Indiana on Saturday. McCord was the top backup last 2 seasons for C.J. Stroud. Brown was a redshirt freshman, did not throw any in-game passes as a true freshman last year. I guess we're going to see how that goes. Yeah, the 3rd highest rated quarterback recruit to ever sign with the Buckeyes behind Quinn Ewers and Terrell Pryor. I guess we'll see how he goes. And Ewers is gone, and McCord's going to get it. He lone start, 13 for 18, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns like an Akron in 2021, where he got Freshman of the Week honors. So it's his job. We'll see what happens. Yeah, wow. All right. And he played with Marvin Harrison Jr. at St. Joseph's Prep High School in Philadelphia. 3 straight state championships. Threw for over 6,600 yards, 88 touchdowns in 3 years. All right, we'll see if he can become a finalist for the Heisman Trophy. And we'll see what happens going forward. Clemson athletic facilities, a cryotherapy area, a full kitchen, a bistro, and hot and cold plunge pools. Vanderbilt is investing $300 million across football, men's and women's basketball with its Vandy United initiative. Currently under construction. Will include a new indoor football field, a massive basketball facility, and tennis courts. Hey, Yankees won yesterday. Yankees won. Yeah. So, how about that? Yankees, 4-1, Judge 29th, Torres is 21st, they're 63 and 68. Severino and Kitty Sharp pitch at least 6 innings in back-to-back games, first time this season, at a season-high 8 strikeouts, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 8 strikeouts. He's 4-8 with a 6.64 ERA. And there, Anthony Volpe, this was from, who did I see this by? Joe Randazzo. His ZiPS projections. Well, ZiPS is a system of player projections developed by Fangraph's Dan Zimborski when he was at Baseball Think Factory. According to a Q&A on the Baseball Think Factory website, ZiP uses growth and decline curves based on player type to find trends. The projections at the time, the decision to put him at quarterback. Okay. Oh, and Michigan has joined the show today. So he was projected to hit 234, 17 home runs, 77 RBIs with a 3.5 WAR. He's 218, 18 home runs, 50 RBIs, 24 stolen bases, and his WAR's at 2. It could be better, but he's improved the last 2 months. At the start, he was hitting 186 in his first 250 plate appearances. Last 228, he's hitting 254. So he's improved on that front. I mean, listen, he 72 points on his batting average. Yeah, a 2.5 to 3 WAR player for a rookie. I think that's pretty damn good. And he's hitting with power. He's good in the field. Yeah, what's he, 11, 12 errors? But you know what? He'll get better next season. You know, we'll see what happens. First time Tigers and Yankees going against each other. G.J. LeMahieu went to high school in Bloomfield Hills, half an hour away from Motor City. Homered in 4 of his last 5 games at Indy yesterday. And they said they could go after, Bob Nightingale said they could go after Cody Bellinger, who they said the Cubs could go after. I mean, still might sign him. 321, 20 home runs, 75 RBIs. He's a guy who I don't disagree with going after. But yeah, I guess we're going to see what happens. And especially, I guess we're going to see what happens if who's the, you know what? I'm blanking on a Yankees center fielder. I see his face. The kid who went to Yankees center fielder. Oh. Yeah, how come that's not doing that for me? I'm not Clark Schmidt. Bullpen, catcher, first base, second base, left field, center. Harrison Bader, I guess. But where does Cody Bellinger play? He could be. I guess he could be. He's an outfielder. Yeah, outfield. I don't know where does Cody Bellinger play? Cody Bellinger, primarily. Cody Bellinger is a. I see him. He play, center field and first baseman. I guess we're gonna see. I mean, Harrison Bader. I'd like them to keep him. Also, Right-hander Chase Hampton joins the top 100 prospects. He has 140 strikeouts across 2 minor league levels this year. Kyle Harrison for the Giants yesterday struck out 11 in 6 1/3, second career start. Youngest player since Christy Matheson in new 1902 to strike out 11 plus batters over 6.1 innings. Crazy, right? What's he, 21 years old? He also struck out 5 straight. That's a feat not done since Randy Johnson did in 2009. He's only 21 years and change, right? I mean, he's a good God. Yeah, he's 22 years old, and he's younger than Madison Bumgarner, about the same age. So the last MLB wide pitcher to strike out more than 10 in their second career outing was Ohtani, who did 12. So hopefully it leads to something good. Kyle Schwarber, this is from Codify. 36 singles, 36 home runs this year. Is that crazy? Yeah, Acuna hit his 29th home run of the season. Most home runs by a player in a 60 stolen base season in MLB history, surpassing 2 separate marks set by Ricky Henderson. Henderson had 28 in 86 and 90 while eclipsing. So he's had a season. Isn't that crazy? 30-60. Fourth career game with a homer and multiple stolen bases. Breaks the tie with Chipper, Jones, and Ron. I used to love Ron Gant. For most such games by a Braves player since at least 1901. Yeah. Crazy. Right? Yeah, I would say so. First player in 6 years to steal at least 60 bases. Last to do it was D. Strange Gordon in 2017. He could have more than 70. Hasn't been reached since Jacoby Ellsbury in 09. He's on pace to finish with 76. In the last 30 years, only 2 players have stolen 75. Lofton in 96 and Jose Reyes in 2007. No one has reached 80 since Vince Coleman in 88. Yeah, become the first player in MLB history to have 30 home runs and 60 steals in a season. Now, that's a season. Stolen bases are way up, 0.68 per game per team last season. From last season to almost 1 a game. Success rate up by almost 5%. On opening day, he got so excited when he realized that National starter Patrick Corbin had already used his 2 pickoff attempts that he stumbled when trying to take off on the next pitch. Yeah, he could be up for NL MVP. Why not? 10 ahead of Estory Ruiz and 21 ahead of Diamondbacks rookie Corbin Carroll. He also leads the majors in runs scored and on-base percentage. He's a hell of a player. And of the NL leading 31 runs the Cubs have allowed in the first inning since the All-Star break, 17 have come against Smiley, 9, and Jameson Tyone, 8. Thank you, Megan Montemurro. And Kevin Gausman is the first AL pitcher to reach 200 strikeouts this season. Third pitcher in Blue Jays history to reach that strikeouts in consecutive seasons since Roy Halladay and Roger Clemens. So yeah, we'll see. Right now, with wild card is the Rays, Rangers, and Astros in the East, and the Phillies, Cubs, and Diamondbacks. You still have teams. Yankees are not in the hunt. Blue Jays, yes. Red Sox, yes. Yankees, no. Giants, Reds, Marlins, yes. Padres, Nationals, Mets, no. Ohtani's ahead of Matt Olson by 1 in home runs. Alonso's at 39. Schwarber at 36. Mookie Betts leading off at 35. And Jorge Soler with 35. I think Acuna should get I think he's the favorite for the AL. Ohtani in the NL. Ohtani in the AL. Cy Young, Blake Snell, Spencer Strider, and Zach Gallen, Arizona. And Garrett Cole, Luis Castillo, and Kevin Gausman. Cole, I don't think it's going to happen. And I know Altuve. So Altuve, MVP award. He's won a Gold Glove, multiple World Series title, 4 straight 200-hit seasons, leadoff inside the park home run, 3 home runs in a playoff game, walk-off home run to clinch a playoff series cycle. No other player in MLB history has accomplished more than half those feats. Thank you, Optastats. I'm not an Altuve fan, but he is a hell of a player. I still, I think he had a wire in his shirt. Hal says no way, but something smells rotten in Denmark. Ronda Rousey's eyeing UFC 300 in early 2024. It's not like she's like 20. How old is Ronda Rousey? Is not young. How old's Ronda Rousey? Ronda Rousey is not young. I keep hearing that she's going to make... Ronda Rousey is... How old is she? 87. So, 36. It's not like a time you decide to come back. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be... And then, yeah, wish her all the luck, but you've been out of the game for a while now. I know she's out of her contract WWE, but maybe. And Dana White used social media. Someone kicked in his door of his front house in, where was this in? Up in, I think it was up in Maine. Yeah, thanks to law enforcement. And where's Levant? Levant? Yeah, I don't know where Levant is. I thought it was in Maine. He used Levant, yeah, in Maine, and they caught the guy. Thanks for the help, yeah. Austin Reeves. So I love these stats. List of Team USA players since '94 to have a stat line of 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Him and LeBron James. Thank you. Giannis could go, talked about Chicago. He's got an older lineup. He's got 33-year-old Drew Holiday, 32-year-old Chris Middleton, and 35-year-old Brooke Lopez. He could be going somewhere else. Canada came back from 12 to beat Latvia. SGA at 27. RJ Barrett at 22. They 3-0 in their group. They were 3-0 plus 111 point differentials, means they will face Spain and either Brazil or Ivory Coast. Unless Spain beats Iran by 63 points, they'll be the top seed in the second round group. Howie Long said Terry Bradshaw, the white Charles Barkley. Okay. And U.S. Open fields a crew of 350 ball persons on the court throughout the tournament. Each year, members must pass a tryout and work an average of 25 to 45 matches. And Michael Kay was, he does the what's it called? Their broadcast. Michael Kay, the K-Rod. So they asked their favorite part of the K-Rod. 6 options. Was it Michael Kay, A-Rod, the guests, the tweets, the laughs, and John Olerud? Kay received 6% of the votes. The guests, 44%. A-Rod, 21%. The laughs and John Olerud got 11%. So no love there. Ryder's Cup, Zach Johnson's pick 6. They play September 29th through October 1st at Marcos Simone Golf and Country Club outside of Rome. Brooks Koepka, you got some LIV golfers. Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa, Justin Thompson, Ricky Fowler, and Sam Burns. You got Scotty Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, Brian Harmon, Patrick Cantley, Max Homa, and Xander Schauffele. They hasn't won the Ryder Cup in European soil since '93. The defending champ. They won 2021 in Wisconsin. Koepka's LIV Golf. Good for him. Who cares? But yeah. And Koepka's played in 3 Ryder Cups. 2 of them wins. Spieth 5th. Morikawa went 3-0-1 in his Ryder Cup debut 2 years ago. Fowler's in his 5th. So we'll see. They won the past 3 Ryder Cups, but Europe has won 9 of the past 13 matches and 6 in a row overseas. Now, I saw Steve Carell was a goaltender at Ohio University. Against rival Denison. Yeah. So he picked the Denison backstop. So he played at Denison. He was a goalie. He actually won a championship in the midgets. And he was actually pretty good his first 2 years. Then he went into acting. But I didn't know he played goalie. He's from the hockey-crazed Boston area. He was one of 2 freshmen in 80-81 to make it through the season without injury. And Denison won its club league regular season title. Yeah, isn't that pretty funny? He appeared in games as a junior and senior, but he missed chunks of seasons for other commitments. Thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, Steve Carell played goalie in college. Yeah, isn't that kind of cool? Yeah. And he played. I guess he played a lot growing up. And they said, why did he? They asked him why he didn't how he ended up going to a college in Granville, Ohio. He said, I didn't get in Bowdoin. That's what he said. I didn't get in Bowdoin. But pretty funny. And they said he was funny, but they didn't think he was that funny growing up. They didn't know how funny he was. And he ended up, sophomore, he 305 save across 29 periods played, 866 winning percentage. Is an NHL, but for club hockey, they said it's pretty damn good. And you also have the Professional Women's Hockey League, teams in Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Boston, and Minnesota, New York. They'll sign players this week ahead of a 15-round draft on September 18th. It will begin in inaugural season January 24th to include 24 regular season games, a schedule announced in the next coming months. Yeah, I believe that game stars like Marie Philip Poulin, Hillary Knight, and Alina Mueller will sign during this 10-day signing window that begins September 1st. The draft will be held September 18th, consists of 15 rounds, as I said. Players who want to compete in the season will have to declare for the draft by September 3rd. Undrafted players become free agents, can sign with any team. Teams can sign no more than 20 standard player agreements. 6 players in each team will be signed to 3-year contracts of no less than $80,000 per league year. 5 players each team will be signed to 2-year contracts. The minimum salary for players in standard player contracts will be $35,000. No more than 9 players per team can be paid the minimum. All right. It's kind of cool, right? Yeah. All right. Did I miss anything else? All right. Yeah. Cool stuff. I will. All right. I'll ask him. I'm kind of curious, what happened. Quick to the great helmet ever. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Commanders defense believes it can carry the offense and it has its footing. Okay. Trey Sermon was cut by the Eagles. Former Bachelorette contestant reported dead, says he's alive. So the guy... Yeah, I saw this yesterday. The guy died. Yeah. Yeah. So now he says he's alive? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Wait, so he did die. I don't know what's going on. He said he's alive, dead, who knows. But he had mental health issues. Oh. Bachelorette. Oh, Josh Sider says he's alive after death announcements. Has been deleted. Social media hack. Oh, okay. All right, dude. So it was a social media hack. Okay. Sorry to hear that. Dallas Cowboys trade Kelvin Joseph to Dolphins for Noah Igbigno Henny. Okay. Cool. More. Send Kelvin for... So who is Trey? Okay, so wait, what is Noah? Isn't that wide receivers? Yeah, they traded cornerback Noah Igbino Henny to the Cowboys in exchange for cornerback. So cornerback for cornerback. Igbino Henny was the 30th pick in the 2020 draft, while Joseph was the second round pick in 2021. And he had some problems, remember, off the field. Yeah, that's what I saw. We shall see. Yeah. All right. Did I miss anything else? They're supposed to, Southside White Sox expected to promote the next head of baseball from within. ESPN agrees to put ACC football games and New Year's Six bowl games in movie theaters this season. Why? Why would I want to go see it in a movie theater? Olivia Cupo and Taylor Lautner and more tout pickleball skills at Celsius Pickleball. Why? Oh, Cole Beasley was cut by the Giants. Yes. Draft lobby. Oh. Draft lobby opens 1 hour prior. You can find the link to under the league office or my team pages. Oh, all right. I don't know what I'm doing. This should be a shit show today. I got 60 seconds to make a pick. I never did this before. So the draft is on tonight. Yippee-ki-yay. Okay, let's get to some trivia questions. I've been talking way too long. All right. Last show's trivia question. Yeah, quiet day today. Quiet day. Okay, last show's trivia question was... last wide receiver drafted in the top 2. How about Calvin Johnson, 2007, drafted by the Lions after Jamarcus Russell went number 1 to the Lions? Okay, in 1997, 26 years ago this month, after the Red Wings' victory, the Stanley Cup made its first trip to which country? Finland, Sweden, Russia, or Belarus? In 1997, 26 years ago this month, the Red Wings' victory, the Stanley Cup, made its first trip to which country? Finland, Sweden, Russia, or Belarus? That's the trivia question. Finland, Sweden, Russia, or Belarus? Belarus. So that's all I got. Josh, thanks for being here today. Bummels, I think, was working. Had a lot of good stuff today. Thanks, Mooch, for about your son. Best of luck with his training business and at Rutgers. Closer to home, he'll have a good time. Send my love to Michigan. My parents, Mrs. S. Yes, Josh, we will talk soon. And send my love to I'm seeing Carol tomorrow for training. Very excited. Carol and Carol. Mrs. S, everybody have a great day. Peace out. Josh, thank you so much. Jason, thanks for the good stuff. Everybody have a great day. Peace out, and I'll talk to you soon. Adios.